Final race of the TNR Group 5 is about to get underway, and we've had two different winners already. Dukes gets another random grid pole position, but this time it's the championship leader on pole, but he doesn't make a good start at all. Lee comes absolutely flying through. Whether that's a false start penalty, it might well be. Graham tries to make a move back up the inside of Lee, can't quite do it. Lee does take the lead, but it did look a lot quicker than everybody else. So is it the case that Lee's got a drive through? Well, I'm not quite sure. We'll have to look after the race, I think. Can't see anything on the data, but he's under pressure immediately from Graham. So the two championship contenders out in front. Mark's in third place in his Ford, and they come down the hill for the first time down the back straight. That Porsche has got really prodigious speed. I'm amazed Lee didn't try and defend the inside. He's left that wide open. I would have gone to the inside, but actually looking at the gap, I think Graham would have been through a long time ago anyway, and that would have probably given him the advantage on the racing line anyway. So Lee just seats the lead, goes to second place. Oz is up to fourth, so Oz having another good race. Can he get on terms with the two Fords and the Porsche up ahead? I think the answer is probably going to be yes. He certainly looks to have the measure of the Fords as we come up over the hill. You can see the speed difference. Oz really has got that car set up for good straight line speed, but the trade-off is it will be a little leery in the corners. Andy, I can scarcely believe myself saying this, is in 5th place in the Nissan, so shout out to Nissan for this race so far. It won't end like that, you can be sure of that. Don't want to be a pessimist, but realistically not going to happen. Graham is pulling away a lead though already over Lee, so Lee and Mark really close on track. See Mark just kicking up the dust there in his white, red and black Worth car, and Oz will look to pounce if he can. You can just see Andy's red Nissan in the background with Chrysler just behind, and then Dom making a mistake out on the grass, which loses him a position to Dugamus. Dubs is 9th, and Martin's really not having a good race at all in this. He's half a minute down on the race leader in his Porsche. So the Porsche is top and tailing the system at the moment as we head through the final turn. Two Fords slightly gapping each other now, and Oz makes a mistake coming out of the final turn. Oh, I thought he was going to lose it. Gathers it back together. He really needs to keep it together if he wants to try and move up the order. He's got a good opportunity, I think, to finish second in this one. It won't be easy because he's got two of the toughest nuts to crack up ahead of him in the Fords, but he's definitely got some good pace in the BMW, and he's definitely closing on Mark now. Look at that. He's hitting all the apexes, doing what he needs to do. There's only half a second between the race leaders as well. I can only see Graham made a mistake out front because Lee is right in this case. I think we're going to have to watch the race leaders, because there is a possibility here that we might get a change and we might get somebody other than Graham winning this race. But I say that, pulls out another half second on the straight, and we're up to a second gap once more. So it's really not easy for these Ford guys to compete. Oz in the background is trying to make the move on the Capri and can't do it. Dudes and Dom, Chrysler, all battling it out. There's 3/10 between the race leaders now. I wonder if Graham's struggling a little bit on his tyres, because it does appear that Lee is absolutely going for it, as Oz also looks to be closing on Mark. So we could have two decent battles on here, one for the lead and one for third place, final podium spot. Here is Lee, very, very careful, threading his Ford through. That Porsche looking a little bit leery on the back end in the background. Oz looking ever closer to the Ford as well. We're actually having quite an entertaining fight here. Two sets of two going on really out of the top four. They're not really all four together. Graham is gapping Lee again now though, so there's not going to be an opportunity for a move this race. Perhaps Lee will try and pay back the rather nasty shunt that Graham gave him in the previous race. I think he'll probably try and avoid the contact now. Oz is very close this time. I think this might give him an opportunity if he just gets through these final few corners nicely. He comes into the last couple of bends. This is pretty much just one continuous bend, but the apex just tightens up, it's tightening radius, tighter and tighter, and then you can go flat out up over the hill. Have a look at the speeds. Well, you've got 150 odd from Mark, but 160 odd from the BMW of Oz, who makes it look, but to be honest, he's not close enough. He'd be better off sticking on the racing line and staying behind for the lap and then getting himself as close as possible. It's not easy to follow in these cars. Get lots of aero washing. Huge front air dam on that, well, both the Ford and the BMW. Mark looks compromised through there. This is an opportunity for Oz. I think he might do it this time. It's a great move. He just absolutely nailed it, but then he's really careful on the inside because it's not easy to brake there, and Mark cuts straight back in front. So for now, Mark holds onto the position, but again coming out of the right hand turn onto the straight, and Mark is going to push Oz to the outside so as to not give him an opportunity on the brakes, but I think Oz is going to go through anyway. It's a brilliant move. Great stuff from Oz around the outside. A really decent move, solid move, and really good racing. Mark immediately trying to fight back, bouncing over the apex. I think he's run into Oz. He's taken him out, but Oz gathers it back together. Mark rightfully gives the place back. That's really sweet of him. That was the right thing to do. I know that wasn't intentional for Mark, but that was not on. And they can do battle once more. These two really having a good battle actually, and this has been really entertaining to watch. Graham, just as he did over Oz in the first race though, is gapping Lee, and Lee looks pretty much dead cert for second now rather than the victory. Who else can we talk about? Well, Andy has fallen back towards the back, as I alluded to earlier. He's now 9th and 10. Chrysler's having another decent run in 7th place and again battling with Dubs. These boys just are glued to each other all day today it seems, and they're having really, really good battles. Chrysler moving around a little bit there. Keep these cars on the straight and narrow where you can, because they are Larry at the best of times, and to get the cleanest, fairest racing you've got to not keep moving side to side like that, but I don't think that's intentional from Chrysler. I think that is where he's putting the boot down and losing control of the back end of the car, and it's pointing the car in all sorts of directions again. Oh, I don't think this is intentional, because I don't see why you would drive like that, but Dubs is having to be so careful with trying to make a move. And I can tell you, Oz and Mark are close on track once more, about half a second between them as they go up over the hill. There's not going to be a move on this time, so we go back to watching Chrysler. Now, Dukes has made a mistake, so Chrysler up to 6th, Dubs up to 7th, and the three of these guys in 3 different cars are all very, very close together on track. Mark and Oz again quite close together on track. Mark's trying to get it back on this, the penultimate lap. Not happening at the moment. Lee also closing in on Graham, interestingly, so Graham must have had a pretty messy lap so far, and Lee is back on the case. Can we see a challenge mounting perhaps for the race win? Seems unlikely, but it could well happen. Mistakes are happening out here as the tyres start to wear, and here is Oz under some serious pressure. Is he going to defend the inside? I think he's probably got enough speed, he doesn't need to. He's going middle of the road, sensible man, good choice. Loses a little bit of time though, because that gives Mark the best line possible. Mark very close, but thinks better of it. That wasn't a move on there at all. Mark just looking so good through these handling sections, really putting Oz under serious pressure, but you just watch this as you go up the hill and it tells you all you need to know from Mark's perspective why he cannot get past that BMW, because look at the difference in straight line speed. It's just not possible. Lee again within reaching distance of Graham, but it's not going to be enough without a big mistake from Graham on the final lap. Graham's looking like he's just driving carefully, so I think we're going to see another Porsche win here. Lee is second, Oz is just holding on to third, but it's so damn tight between these guys. Dom's in the pits, dropping down the order. Dom in the pits, we've lost one of the guys as well, down to 9 cars, vice 10. So not sure who dropped out, but this is really battle on the final lap of the race. Mark's made a big mistake there though. That could have been his last opportunity, because remember, he's at a straight line deficit to the BMW, and I don't think he's going to be able to do anything from here. So again, Oz really slow. Coming up to the line though will be Graham. He is going to win in the Porsche, wins once more. It's getting a bit boring this. Another victory ahead of Lee, who's also won a couple himself so far. But coming up to the line, it really is battle on the Ford. Tries to go to the outside, but almost loses it. He does lose it, goes across the grass, gathers it back together, but Oz takes the final podium spot. Mark does just about get it back on track for 4th place. Dubs is going to come up for a phenomenal 5th place. I don't know what's happened on the last lap. That's Chrysler we've lost, isn't it? So he's been promoted up the order, and he's going to finish 5th place, his best of the season. So I'm pleased for Dubs for that. Dukes finishes 6th. Martin is going to come up the line in 7th place in his Porsche. Again, struggling with tyre wear. Andy gets another joint best finish in the Nissan in 8th place, and Dom is going to be a little bit further back, having made a pit stop. Next week we will be at Bathurst in Australia, which should be very entertaining and very tricky. Lee with the best lap, and these are the 119s.